doesn't have any touch IC to do. All right, is this working? I think so. All right. Sam says hello. Must be working. All right, we'll leave that off. All right, I was just watching my buddy Matt Davis in Texas do a live stream on Facebook of some Touch IC repairs that he was doing. And, you know, it just seemed fun because I was doing them along with him, even though he didn't know it. I just finished up a set of, I don't know how many, just millions. So let's just take the next set of 3 off the top and, you know, just kind of share techniques. How are you guys, what are you doing differently than I am? What have I started doing differently than the last time I made a video? And let's just kind of have a day of sharing the misery of Touch IC. Here's one thing that I've been doing differently that I totally love, which is I have a disassembly person, Sharon. So Sharon from Bodywork Needed next door comes over at nights, and she has this awesome system. So she does all of my disassembly. So this is what I get when it's time to do Touch IC. So love Sharon. And she keeps all of the screws managed in my, I love these things, these little magnet trays. You know, they're useful for everything. So I use these little magnet trays. Look for them in China in the remote control car section. And then we just label them with a, it's got a magnet in the tray. We label them with the ticket number, and then Sharon stacks them up 5 deep, and then she'll put them in a drawer in one of the Harbor Freight things. I guess you can't see them over there. Let's see. So cool. So in each one of those little drawers is a stack of 6 different screw sets for some repair. All right, let's kind of get back here. All right, so let's do Touch IC. Maybe I should read the ticket and just make sure nothing's weird about it. And this guy just sent the estimate. Oh, that was the last guy. No, just this. Touch IC solution. That's all we get to know. All right, so let me adjust this stupid camera. Where does it need to be? Ah! All right, let's see if that's still even streaming. Is it? Hello from Greece. Honduras, videos helpful. Cell phone store, can you do a better price? Absolutely not. Full repairing, please help me. If board stays out long-term, liquid damage, I just put them all back in the housing. Yeah, we use we've got a ton of these shoe boxes here. This kind of means like a second look. But I love not having to do my own disassembly, reassembly. I can't tell you how awesome that is. I don't feel like that's quite right. All right, let's see. Okay, let's do some Touch IC. All right, hopefully I'm not going to be, and hopefully I'll get a better result than Matt, but probably not. You know, like whenever you do anything live, you have like a good chance of things just kind of not working. So the first thing I've been doing lately is when I take my my sticker off, I like to heat it up just to kind of pre-warm the board a tiny bit and make the adhesive not stick to the frame here. So just a little bit of heat on that. Still not super happy with the angle of this camera, but we're gonna not worry about that. Save the sticker because I cut it and I use it again. So now Matt was saying that he just changes Mason and not also cumulus. So let's look under the microscope at what we're talking about here. Alright, so he just changes the Mason chip and not also cumulus. A lot of guys do that. I think if you see gray lines, you can get away with just changing Mason. I usually change them both, but let's, give Matt's method a try. Worst case scenario is you have to do some warranty work. For shielding today, I'm going to use nothing and see if I have to pay a price. I usually have, in the past, have used, quite a bit more shielding. The thing I'm going to do here is just try to not really keep my air in so much of one spot. Like, I've really noticed that, like, everybody's sort of milieu of secondary defects is different. I'm left-handed, so I use my tweezers in the left hand, and that really changes, I think, my air angle, so I get different types of secondary defects than others. So this time I'm just going to try to, like, kind of keep it moving around. Alright, so there goes my chip. Now, what to do about pads? So I just watched Matt spend, I don't know, a super long time getting real OCD with his pads, and maybe that's something I should try. He used wick and hot air. It sounds terrible. It's so funny, like, that to me sounds like, kind of scary, especially how he was describing it. And I bet it sounds scary to him to, like, bust in here with an iron, but this is what I do. I've got plenty of flex on there. Let's look real close. This is what I do. I press down on here with a hot iron and then just sort of kind of I just want to touch each one and have it sort of jump to this giant ball, and that's it. That is it. So I could sit here and kind of obsess about these guys if I wanted to, and I just think that you kind of can get really overworked in here. There's little peaks and valleys, but I think when you really look at it, these pads largely are like puffy pillows. That's what I like them to look like. They're rounded and, they're tinned. They're ready to make a new joint. I think when you come in here with braid, it seems like you get like kind of this sort of sandpaper effect. It's almost like when you are painting something, if you just take, paint, you kind of get a first coat over it, then your second coat goes on so even and smooth. But if you, sandpaper the base really well, and then you paint on top of that, it's just really rough and dry. And so I don't know. I mean, what do I know? This is just what I do, so we'll see. But that's done. Like, I'm ready to place my chip now. I'm not gonna clean it or ultrasonic or anything. I'm gonna look and say, does that generally look burned? And if the answer is no, then the flux is pretty much good to go. So I'm gonna deem that good to go, and I'm gonna grab a new Mason chip. I also noticed in Matt's video that he says solder. What the heck? This guy is from Texas. Solder? That is a little bit cray-cray. Okay, let's stick on our buddy Mason. I really hope that some of you guys that do this, start up a live stream so that we can I want to click over and check out how you guys are doing things. Alright, so, kind of more or less, maybe this will fly away. I kind of like go back and forth between times where I will sort of hold the chip down with some tweezers, and times where I will, I got a mismatch between my microscope and my camera focus. Alright, hopefully that's good. If I come in here with these tweezers, I can pretty much keep this guy in place, but I don't always do that. My main goal is I want to let him find his own way, so I'm just going to wave some heat around in here. And I'm looking at that top coil to see when it turns shiny. That's sort of a bit of a tell. I like to see the solder bubbling and flowing. All right, I'm going to come away with my heat, get my tweezers out of there. I'm going to throw a little, it looks a little bit dry, I'm going to throw a little bit more flux in. I'm going to get back in there right away and reflow this chip. I want to see movement. I want to see him settle down and find his own way. There he goes on one side, but that's not enough. That's quite uneven, so I know he's got to move around. There he goes, straighten himself out. And I'm going to give him a nudge. There we go. And that's pretty typical for how I do a chip. So we'll let that cool down a little bit. I'm not going to, assume that that's good. We'll have to test next. One thing I'm going to do is flip over here and look at my sticker. I used to always take the sticker off, but now I leave it on because it's a bit of a tell for me to see how, was there too much heat up here? Am I going to have to worry about, secondary issues? And this sticker is not burn up, so I don't think there was too much heat. Because the sticker's not burn up, I'm not going to bother to take off the shield and check for solder balls. If it was, then I would. All right, let's see if there's anything going on over here. I take off the stickers. So much flux. Micro-soldering, live streaming, watching someone cook. Ha! Gross. A dentist? All right. Here's a guy who is from the course, another guy from the course, a couple of guys from the course. Are the lights off? Yeah. It was raining in the oh, another guy from the course. And a guy who's coming to the course. It was raining in the shop. The roof in the back just decided it didn't want to be a roof anymore, and it wanted to be a shower head. All right, let's see what happens. So this was, one of a zillion. I've been wanting to kind of do one that I've sort of been putting off that came in a long time ago. That is a giant tornado in the trailer park. That maybe I'll take a stab at it. Let's see. Let me turn this down a notch. There we go. Live streaming is funny because it's like when you're the person live streaming, you have very little visibility on the community. Like, what is everybody else saying? It's hard to pay attention to that and what you're doing at the same time. So when you're live streaming, everybody's watching you. But when you are watching somebody else live stream, then it's all, easy to talk to lots of people that are all doing the same thing, watching that guy. It's a real weird disconnect. I also think for live streaming you have to really just not give a shit. You can't be worried about, oh gee, what if I fuck up? Just kind of assume that you will fuck up whatever you're trying to fix. It's hard to pay attention and multitask. And do simple things like connect the stupid antenna. Oh, maybe something like that. There we go. I'd like to know from you guys that are doing a lot of touch IC, what's up with the screens? We've been getting some of these back that are, we had one today that's like, fix it right this time. You change the touch ICs and now it will work fine for a few hours and then stop. Well, I can't really troubleshoot your intermittent problem and differentiate an actual bona fide warranty board issue from a screen issue. So I'm seeing a lot of these screens, like if you're living with the screen and you're beating on it and you're twisting it, then it gets the gray bars. That's clearly touch disease. then you end up getting touch fixed at board level and put the same screen back on it, and it's like the screen's kind of laggy, you know, and I'm not really sure out there. We don't see enough, fantastic battery. We don't see enough different types of screens to really know whether or not they're all really equivalent for touch. You know, like it's pretty clear with the LCDs. Original LCD, you know, the LG Sharp, you know, different LCDs versus the, you know, the copy screens that have the you know, the Class D LCD with the, like, here's the white part and here's the pink part around the edge of it. Is that true also for the touch function of these parts, these screens? You know, do some of them just like kind of have sketchy, laggy, ghosty touch? You know, and what are you guys doing to kind of differentiate screen issues from board issues, especially for those intermittent? It works fine until until it's Tuesday night, and then it doesn't work. All right, I'll let that charge up. I guess I'll just do another one and see if you guys answer me. All right. I can't work well when someone's watching over me. Me neither. Yeah, I'm still using shields. I guess everybody's using shields. Matt is a cheapskate in Ohio. $50 on eBay, whatever. All right, here's Joe. I have one that came in yesterday that someone tried to do Touch IC themselves. No power, couldn't get them off, and it's like chipped up. I wonder if he used a hairdryer. I had a really sad one. The guy in Brazil sent me the same thing where he was like, you know, tried to do it himself with a hairdryer, and now he's like, so I'm ready to send it to you. The only, you know, it's just right now, and he's like describing this kind of like CPU colored lines kind of defect, and I'm like, no, and that was just a real shame, you know. So Touch IC is not something to do with your hairdryer. No Touch ICs with hairdryers. Are you using Raoul shields in all repairs now? Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Raoul has you know, we got a big bag of these things from Raoul, and you know, we're gonna use them. You know, I think he kind of got that done. This is Raoul of Prime Tech Tools, Raoul Rodriguez, who finally kind of solved an industry problem for everybody, and he got his act together and he got some pre-made shields fabricated, and I'm sure there's like a ton of them laying around. Oh man, it is late in the day and I am super tired. Having to get up at 6 for bus duty really sucks. I think Jean stole one. Here we go. These are the Raoul shields for everybody that wants to take a look. We'll put one on if I can get a good candidate working. What are we looking at here? Ta-da! I'll show you how these fit under the microscope. Let's get rid of that picture in picture. All right, let's see. Ta-da! So that's a really nice fit. So perfect fit. Good job, Raoul. You got that fabricated, and that was a real challenge. You put a lot of money into that. It's more than, you know, actually buying shields. It is. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Somebody's talking about prices of touch things. I appreciate that somebody was willing to actually put some money out on and take a risk. You know, I mean, this is an industry of cheapskates. And actually, you know, I think Raoul spent like 10 grand having a little machine made that can generate, you know, thousands and thousands of these shields a day. And just kind of pump them out. I mean, I definitely appreciate not having to cut shields. With mine, I am still trying to figure out, and hopefully one of you guys can clue me in on why it is that I seem to get grade Wi-Fi between, like everything will test out fine after I change the chip, and then I'll get grade Wi-Fi after I put on the shield. So I don't know if there's, in here in this area or over here, if I am getting like solder coming out underneath the shield, or if I'm getting, just sort of heat. I don't think it's heat by the Wi-Fi chip. I think it's something to do with one of these small components, or maybe it's something about there just being a shield on the board and grounding something. I'm not really sure about that. So let me hear your thoughts on grade Wi-Fi. It's not that big of a deal if you just sort of leave the phone alone. The grade Wi-Fi will resolve itself, but I would like to know if anybody's really gone down the Wi-Fi rabbit hole. How can I avoid that? Because it is a pain when I have kind of littered around me. And make sure Wi-Fi comes back on this phone and then get it out of here. Alright, that's pretty much all I'm going to do, which is just care about making them pretty uniform and look like they've got like kind of one layer of paint all over them. Alright, I'm going to get out Mason chip. Wi-Fi rabbit hole now on a 6 after Touch IC. The 6 I think is definitely the little in here, like on the 6, this area here. These guys and the 6 are covered with that underfill, and this guy, all that's covered with underfill. So it's pretty clear when you put heat on Mason that you're going to get spooge on your underfilled, coils and stuff like that. I don't know if the gray Wi-Fi has something to do with the date time, kind of disconnect, or crystals having to stop getting hot, but I don't know. Somebody figure it out. It's not annoying enough to really go investigate a bunch of stuff on it because it generally resolves on its own. I think I've had it once or twice not resolve on its own, and in those cases I was wondering if it might have something to do with the baseband CPU. Because baseband CPU in iPhone 6 Plus, generating all those sort of searching no signal problems, maybe that has some relationship with like Wi-Fi calling now, and it used to not. Alright, Steven, how long did you wait? I have never reballed the Wi-Fi chip. I'd rather say fuck it than do that. But like I think I've only had maybe 1 or 2 that just didn't come back on their own. How long did you wait before deciding you had to reball that chip? Now I'm nervous. I'm gonna go put a nickel on my Wi-Fi. It's freaking me out. I don't want to have to reball that. I really don't know for sure if putting a piece of metal on top of the Wi-Fi chip actually increases or decreases the heat that chip is experiencing. I don't know. I'll get rid of it. Just gonna make sure I keep my air away from Wi-Fi. Point the air like this today. I'm watching for that coil to get hot. There it goes. I gotta see movement down there. It's gotta drop on that corner by itself. There it goes. And nudge. And done on that. Usually by the next day. Yeah, usually by the next day. Once I did Touch IC, phone wasn't turning on. NFC shifted. Yeah, that is a common one. I think that's Gil Pareto, who came to the course a long time ago. There's a VCC mainline under that Stockholm chip. Could be software. Looks easy. That's not fair. It's not easy, man. It's a big pain in the ass. I have been sitting here, my whole life is just sitting here doing this. This is super boring. All right, let's see if we have any touch on this. Press home to open. Okay. Yay. All right, let's see how, this is my test. You guys can tell me how you guys are testing after Touch IC. All right, so let's find a note. My favorite is when they have the little sketch app and you can just kind of test the whole screen. Oh, they don't have the sketch app. I like to be able to kind of use a coloring book app or something like that. So I will just type out an alphabet. You can drag around the camera or, you know, assistive touch or something just to make sure you don't have any dead spots. But I think this sort of like real life, you know, can I just sit here and type the alphabet a few times with, I'm paying attention for any kind of like ghosty or laggy stuff going on. Any dead spots? Now let's check for cameras. Secondary defect camera. Rear camera, front camera. Good. Let's see how the Wi-Fi is, if we got grayed out Wi-Fi. Alright, Wi-Fi is good. It sees the house Wi-Fi. Let's check for ambient light sensor function. So we'll hold it under the light and it needs to get bright on its own, which it does, so that's good. Now here's one that's been kind of throwing us for a loop. You got to test the proximity sensor. So if you go to the voice memos app, you can kind of hit record, make sure that's blue up there, which it's not. Alright, and then you want to see it go dark. Well, I've had a few where that didn't work. However, on playing a voicemail, it would have proximity sensor function. So that was like a weird thing. So I spent a long time chasing down one of them, like, why is the proximity sensor not function? What controls that? Find all those filters, dig them out, replace them, lift them, scrub under them. And then it really didn't have a proximity sensor function. It was just something was up with voice memos with iOS 10. I don't know if you guys have run across that. All right, fingerprint sensor is the last thing that I need to test. Add a fingerprint, and I just want to see that it can actually detect that sensor, which it can. Okay, so this one we'll go ahead and put a shield on and see if, like many times, am I getting ready to lose Wi-Fi from this sort of act of putting the shield on, and if you guys can tell me what it is that I'm doing wrong so that I don't have to have grade Wi-Fi anymore. All right, anybody got any pre-tips on how to not get grade Wi-Fi? That issue is iOS, yeah, it does seem to be iOS 10, but man, that was a giant drag. And I really don't know what to do if voice memo is kind of not testing proximity, and I mean if they don't have a voicemail that I can play and their voice memo app isn't working, lock the phone and come back to voice memos, the proximity sensor will work. Okay. I think it has to do with a sort of like raise to wake kind of stuff. You get Wi-Fi issue after shield. Yes. Too much flux. On the Wi-Fi, there's nothing to do with compass, bro. Huh? Mohammed is selling shields. Yes. How's that working out? You used a different material than Raul did. It still doesn't hurt to test compass. Nobody gives a shit about compass. Compass is for geocaching. Maybe Pokemon Go. It is completely unrelated. I mean, that's the thing. When I'm doing a repair, let's say, what did I do? I did a 6S backlight earlier this week. 6S backlight. 6S backlight, and after I fixed it, the guy had no cameras. And that is really not my problem, because there's no way for me to know in advance that his board had a camera problem because it had no backlight. And it is my deal with him is, hey, if I can't fix your backlight, then I'm not going to charge you any fee at all. I'm not going to charge you for the chips that I put in there. I'm not going to charge you for the time. I'm not going to charge you for the fact that I had to pay Sharon to do disassembly. I'm not charging you for any of that if I can't solve your problem. That was your deal. So that's my deal for you. Now your deal with me is that if I do solve your problem, I am going to charge you. That's my deal. If you have some secondary issue that's unrelated to my repair, that's your part of the risk. So your part of the risk is whether or not you're on the hook for any kind of secondary issues. Now with touch IC microsurgery, because of the proximity, how common it is, and what we've learned about it, we know that there is a set of about 10 different very commonly affected side effects of the touch IC microsurgery, which primarily come from heat transfer through the board. So if you have, heat here on the touch ICs that are now back under the sticker, and if you have heat transferring through around this area, it can float little teeny tiny components in here that control proximity sensor, ambient light sensor, front and rear camera, fingerprint sensor itself, and then of course grayed out Wi-Fi if that doesn't come back. So those things are for us, they're part of our extended secondary issue, extended coverage for touch IC microsurgery. Everything else is primary problem, no fix, no fee, and you're on your own for secondary issues. All right, let's take one of these Raoul shields, Prime Tech Tools shields. All right, well, let's try to avoid the gray Wi-Fi problem. Who can tell me how can I avoid this? My plan is to just try and use maybe, I'm going to scoot this shield kind of close here to the edge, and I'm going to try to avoid getting solder to really go all the way through there. But I still want to get a good bond. Shake your hand if you are live streaming. Hi! Oh yeah, Mark, what the fuck, Mohammed? Why did you send Mark shields and not me? My address is 4 North Main Street, Huntington Falls, New York, 14472. Reset all network settings. That stuff doesn't really work. I'll send mine when I'm ready to. I was in the shower. Great. So nobody's going to tell me how to get rid of my gray Wi-Fi problem? Come on. All right, if this gets gray Wi-Fi, I'm going to come and find all of you and beat your ass. Nobody's helping me. All right. Let's maybe put it to the edge or cut out above them of where those coils are. Maybe. I'm going to just try to be gentle in that area. All right. Hang on. Are we getting free shields? Not me. All right. I think that you got to have a lot of flux and you got to have a good chunk of solder on here or else it doesn't work. Alright, I'm going to press this down with just some tweezers and I'm just going to try to kind of get in here on the edge. It really doesn't love to adhere to this steel or whatever these shields are made out of, but it will. They're a pretty strong material, so I think it was a difficult decision to make, and they can change this to whatever material might be better now that they kind of have the machine that can make these cuts. But this seems to be a pretty strong material. I assume it's steel. It will take this solder, but it really doesn't seem to love it. You kind of have to coax it. You have to use plenty of flux. See how it kind of will come up a little bit here? That's where I'm worried that, like, am I putting solder like under? I'm gonna get rid of this so that you guys can really watch and give me some feedback here. Trying to also just be kind of quick about it on these guys. So let's throw a line of flux down here. I don't want to touch or burn that actual antenna. I think my tip here needs a little bit of work. Alrighty. Alright, good enough. I don't bother down here by the NAND. Like, that's not necessary, I don't think, so I just sort of leave that open. Do ultrasonic after repair. Only if the guy is not a douchebag. One of the things that we started doing, Christy got some stickers. She got some Mr. Yuck stickers. She got some stickers that were stars. And if you sent us a repair and you followed all the instructions, so that means getting the quote request and having your passcode and telling us, you know, everything, you know, like so that it's easy to link your estimate to the lead. If you did all that, then at intake, you get a gold star. Which means, you know, just sort of that like extra loving touch where I might ultrasonic your board if you have a gold sticker because you are a good rule follower for intake. But if you get, you know, if you have, like this guy the other day, if you have already called us asking for a status update before your device has even arrived, then you get like a red sticker or a Mr. Yuck sticker. And those are bad because that means that, you know, you're kind of a little bit, kind of somebody who is unlikely to be able to be pleased, so just why bother trying? So if you're that guy, you're definitely not going to get ultrasonic treatment. In fact, I had to tell one guy today, all right, you've called us 3 times, you know, your repair has been here for, you know, a couple of days, well below the stated 8 to 10 day turnaround. It's clear that you just want to chat, and we don't have time for that, so I told him, you know, if you call 3 times asking for updates, that's an automatic no fix. Goes back no fix automatically. But I'll give you a pass and let you have an extra 4th time here. But you'll hear from us. We got to keep everybody working on the queue. And not doing things like live streaming and goofing around. Mark, did you start live streaming? I ultrasonic or clean, unless I'm sending it to Apple. Ha! I love it. Alright, let's see. 23243. 23243. Let's see what's up with this one. I gotta go to a roller skating party, like, coming up. Christine, are you going to roller skating?
Next month.
Oh. Manor School family roller skating.
Oh, is that tonight?
I guess so. I don't know how you're supposed to find out about all this stuff anymore. I have 9 boards ready to go. It's going to be a long stream. No, waiting for Cecilia to get back at 5. Why the sunglasses? Because I gotta go roller skate. Gotta leave. It's super sunny in upstate. It is. Nobody really cares about compass. If it doesn't work, I've just sent it out, nobody complains. How many warranty? 6 months. 6 months. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Nobody wants to pay for any kind of expensive repair. This is a lot. You know, taking the board out and doing all this, adding the shield, you know, buying and sourcing the shields, quoting everybody, doing all of the shipping. All of that is a lot of work. Nobody wants to, you know, to do that work without, you know, getting paid. Uh-oh. Oh. Come on. Yay! Touch. Scared me for a second with the notifications. Alright, oh, this is the same one I just did. See how spaced out I am? Let's look for grade Wi-Fi. See? Grade Wi-Fi! Why? Tell me! Tell me! Who can tell me? Solve this for me. Why does that happen to me, like, a lot? Tell me. Honestly, that is something that, I mean, this, you just kind of set it aside and it'll be fine, but I want to know what is it that is getting disrupted here? And then it doesn't ever come back. It's not like these go on to have any kind of Wi-Fi. It's something about the heat from installing the shield. It could be, I kind of don't see this a lot when I cut the shields from like the thin tin. So it might be that, like, because I have to work a little bit more to get those shields on there to make a joint. Tell me why. Who can tell me? Residual heat? No. I mean, you can do, I mean, this has been sitting around way too long. Come on, help me out. I sent you some banners for your channel 4 weeks ago. What? I don't know. Where? It doesn't make any sense. Is the board still hot? No. Completely cooled. U5302 RF is the only thing that's like next to the Mason Cumulus. I'm going to PBRS in March. We'll see you then. Reset Wi-Fi. Static, maybe. That could be true. We're in New York. It seems to be something that seems to, I'm associating it with the thicker shields, but it may be change of weather. Could be why Apple. You know, but why didn't they place a shield? I don't know. One of the things that really I kind of like, one idea that I've heard, and I don't know who to credit, is that it could be a like requirement, you know, like UL listing or something like that. Like if you're going to use near field communication, you cannot have a nearby ground plane or something like that, so that they had to not use the shield in order to meet some kind of regulation that maybe not a practically reasonable regulation. I kind of like that idea. Maybe that coin, yeah, exactly. The coin, I didn't have the coin. I took it off. So there was, I mean, this Wi-Fi was not grayed out after the repair. So touch ICs went on, board booted, tested everything. I mean, that's a long time. The board was totally cooled down. Wi-Fi was present. I connected to Wi-Fi. Then I took the board out, and all I did was go around the frame. You guys saw me go around the frame to attach the shield, and I attached it on top of that ferrite sticker. So I don't know if everybody's doing that. So sticker, trim the sticker, put the shield on, and what was a functional board with perfect Wi-Fi now is a gray Wi-Fi. I know that it can sit around and it will cool down and Wi-Fi will come back. But I would like to know, why does it turn to gray Wi-Fi when I put the shield on? Some of the time, but not all the time. Your email, oh, my email's a black box. Don't ever send anything to my email. All right. Your CPU got overheat. In this case, you need to, whoa, I hope you're talking to somebody that's not me. I hope that UFix Repairs UK is not telling me I have great Wi-Fi because my CPU got overheated and I need to rebuild the CPU. Hopefully you're answering somebody else in the stream. It happens without the shield. I can finish one test, everything works all together, and it comes up with that shit. Figure it out, man. Yeah, it's in this case you need to reball the CPU. You can reball the CPU, or you can just like leave it sitting around, go have a cup of coffee, and come back and it'll be fine. Whatever way you want to do it doesn't matter. Alright, here's a real answer. Metal shield is shorting C5201 Wi-Fi internal LDO cap. Alright, let's go on a hunt and look that up. C5201 RF. Is that one of the dudes that's on the outside of the let's just guess. let's see if we can play guess where this thing is. C5201 RF. Well, I know that's C5202. Is it one of the little dudes that's next to him? Metal shield is shorting that guy? No, it's got to be in here. It's going to be one. It's going to be one of these guys, and he's got to be tall. But I put the sticker over it. I mean, it really can't touch. Unless the stick. I don't think the sticker's conductive. You mean somebody in here? Let's see. More comments below. Some kind of short. Electric tape, no, just the existing stuff. Is that a 6? 6 plus. 6 plus. I mean, the 6, I get it, you know. I mean, the 6, it makes a lot of sense. But not on the 6 plus. I don't get it. On the 6, when all of this stuff in here, all of that's got the underfill, that makes sense. But I don't get it, you know. I mean, here's my board. Let's take it out so you guys can see. Solve this for me. Grade Wi-Fi, and it was fine before the shield. Let's take it out. Christine, why do you think I have grade Wi-Fi after I put these shields on?
I was just reading something else, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
I get grayed out Wi-Fi when I do a Touch IC repair, and it tests out fine initially, and then when I put on that metal shield on the back of the board, then I get grayed out Wi-Fi. It doesn't work anymore. Why do you think that is? Do you have any ideas? Nobody else does either. So.
Oh, I don't know, but I'm sure you're going to figure it out someday.
I'm not figuring it out. I'm going to get some answers from my subscribers on YouTube. They're going to figure it out. The Wi-Fi is gone even after removing again the shield. Faraday syndrome. Oh, now we're getting some good answers. All right, here's my shield. I mean, am I going to have to take this off? I guess I could take it off. I'm pretty sure that Wi-Fi will still be gone. I haven't tested that. So this is what it is. Let's look on the side. Well, Mark, I can't approach it systematically because every time I don't want it to happen. So I think it's not going to happen. What I really wanted is just for one of you guys to be like, oh yeah, that's this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not, Xfix Repairs UK that said it was a CPU problem. I certainly can't listen to anything. Continuity test the sticker? Nah. Alright, so this, I'm not going to take the shield off because I think it'll still have grayed out Wi-Fi, and I don't think it will help us learn anything. I think that putting heat on it in order to get it off will move any kind of solder that might be touching anything, so I don't think that it can really help us. So that one we're going to put to the side and wait for his Wi-Fi to be all better. Did you try changing the polarity? Alright, here we go. Alright, let's just test my other one. I really wanted to do this repair though, the really banged up trailer park one. In fact, maybe I will, just real quick. So did Matt Davis, anybody watching Matt Davis live stream on Facebook, did he fix his Touch IC job? Rewa Technology, isn't that a bunch of like just screen, you know, one of the LCD refurbisher guys? I don't know them to be competent microsolderers. Okay, this is getting boring. Alright, this goes to the side. Let's test this other one. 23238. Maybe we should turn this into a figuring out the grayed out Wi-Fi. And if this one works and I have to put a shield on it, then we can do it sort of, let's solder it one by one and see if we ever lose any Wi-Fi. Could be so many things. Alright, testing board number 2. So what do you guys think of nanotechnology machines for waterproofing? We've been having a giant fight on that over on the Facebook group Cell Phone Repair Shop Talk. Sounds like people are selling pseudo-science in the industry, which I think is bad for everybody. Don't like to see that going on. Ooh, I like that idea, Steven Spink. Try installing Shield on a good board that doesn't need Touch IC replaced. Yeah, see if it's touch related or if it's Shield related. I mean, it's definitely Shield related. Something's up with the frame. Could put down Captain tape. What are you guys using underneath the Shield? Captain tape or the sticker or what? I have so much work to do. Me too, man. Look at all these phones are everywhere around me. This is a stack right here that happens to be next to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. What's an iPad? Oh, 18. Trim the sticker. I did trim the sticker. Can you please give me your email address? I will send them to you again. I don't have an email address. I don't answer like all this sort of fan mail stuff. If anybody needs to contact me, call the business manager. She will let anybody through that she thinks needs to talk to me. All right, I got Wi-Fi on this one. It sees the Wi-Fi, but I don't have an antenna. All right, close enough. This one is going to be hard to test. Let me just put the antenna on. Let's see if we can clear this activation stuff. And let's see if we can get to the bottom of the grayed out Wi-Fi dilemma. Let's see if I can go take a nap. Oh, Christine, I think you did a good job on the data recovery instructions. There's a rush data. That phone is totally fine. It's all reassembled. It's up to the front. It would be nice if we could just pull a backup. I think it's.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. All right. super tired. Solder only the top or right side first, then test again. Okay. Is it me or is there a cutout on the shield? Huh? A cutout on the bottom part of the shield that's on the chipwork site? I don't know. Tell us what you're talking about. Continuity on the shield pads to make sure they're all ground. The frame? No, that's silly. That doesn't make any sense. Do you think iFixit screens are worth the money? What supplier would you recommend? Yeah, I think anything iFixit sells, aside from the Thirsty Bag, which they took down, is worth the money, because I think iFixit is the only ones willing to put some cash behind doing the right thing in the industry, which means, you know, advocating for best practices and getting, you know, having a political voice. That stuff's important, and they put money behind it, and nobody else does. Same thing for buying shields from Raoul. He put money behind solving a problem. Nobody else does. I think that's great. And I think the opposite of the douchebags that are selling the, you know, ridiculous nanotechnology, you know, snake oil, magic wand, you know, waterproofing treatment machine, which is total BS. I think that those guys are specifically not putting money into a really simple thing that they could do, which is, hey, if we're gonna look our customers in the eye and say, hey man, I know it's getting close to Christmas time and you have kids and you could take $50 and you could take your family out and make a nice memory and kind of go out to dinner and maybe do some Christmas cards and get some coffee, you know, or you could come down to my shop and I'll look you in the eye and I'll tell you that, you know, wouldn't it suck if you got your phone water damaged? Hey, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take your $50. You can go home, skip going out to dinner with your family, skip Starbucks, skip writing Christmas cards. And you can give me the $50. I'm going to take your phone. I'm going to stick it in this magic box that seems a little bit dubious. That's going to, in theory, spray liquid paraffin up through this little hole, disperse it evenly all throughout the logic board, including under the shields, which, by the way, even an ultrasonic cleaning machine can't really get under the shields, but this magic technique can, and it will coat your motherboard with liquid paraffin. That way, in the future, when you drop your phone into lifestyle water, i.e., you know, rains or sinks or, you know, stuff that you typically would that's not ocean water or pools, then your phone is going to be fine because it is waterproofed. I think that is extremely unlikely to be true. I think that if you're going to say something that's extremely unlikely to be true and take people's money for that, when they're standing in your shop and they're looking at you as an authority figure in that field, I don't think that you have the right to just look at them and say, yes, this is going to waterproof your phone. I believe it will, when you don't have any evidence to support what is a really dubious sounding theory. So that really bothers me, and I get into all these fights with these guys that are selling this stuff. I don't recommend that anybody buy this. I think that it is almost certainly bullshit. However, I'm extremely open to being wrong. I'm wrong all the time. All you have to do to prove me wrong is to accept the fact that just because you take a phone, you stick it in one of these like waterproofing machines, get it back out, pitch it into some aquarium water, and it works again, that's not evidence that the reason why the phone works is because of the snake oil machine. You guys have seen me on this channel take my personal iPhone 6, here it is, poor little guy. This guy has been in water 4 times, that I just pitch it in the water, completely untreated, doesn't even have pentalobes down here, doesn't have any battery screws, doesn't even have battery shield, and it's always fine. You know, it's working. Even right now, this is my phone, use it every day. So the premise then that if you put a phone in water, it's automatically going to be water damaged and dead isn't true. Untreated phones are perfectly fine. Look at the iPhone 7 on the iFixit channel that was in the aquarium for like until the YouTube kicked them off of the live stream. So you know, you can you'd have to do this. You need at least 20 phones, ideally more, but minimum 20. 10 that you're going to treat with the snake oil technique, 10 that you're going to leave untreated. And the phones need to be all the same model, whatever one you want to pick. And then you need to take the phones and the ones that were treated, subject them to normal use for a couple of weeks so that they can experience heat and cold cycles. The reason why is that, one guy I talked to at the ERC who knew a lot about motherboard overclocking and cooling with liquid cooling and condensation and protecting motherboards from condensation, i.e. liquid damage, said that they used this liquid latex skin and that they had tried all sorts of things, and one of the things they tried was liquid paraffin, but it just didn't stay on the board very well. It was hard to get an even coat. Once you did, heating and cooling would make it just pocket all over the place, so it really wasn't effective. So because of that, I think that the snake oil machine, which is based on liquid paraffin, needs to have a couple of weeks of use, of normal use, to have the phone experience those heating and cooling cycles. Then you've got your set. You've got 10 treated phones that have been subjected to heating and cooling of normal use, so whatever they have is their residual, theoretical water protection versus untreated phones. Now, if this group of phones that were treated has a bona fide practical benefit, meaning that if it has a greater chance of withstanding, hey, I dropped this in the toilet, then fantastic. And that is great. I will promote the shit out of that product. I will buy one myself. I will sell it to customers. I will think it's a great idea. Who wouldn't want a waterproof phone? Who wouldn't want to improve, if that was possible, the natural waterproofedness of their phone? So all you have to do to prove that to me and to get my recommendation and support and anybody else that I talk to, all you have to do is that simple study. Cost is 20 phones, and the manufacturers of this stuff is not willing to do that. So I'm answering this question here, which is, do I think it's worth it to buy iFixit screens? And I think the answer is yes, because iFixit doesn't do this kind of shit. When they put up the Thirsty Bag, which was similar bullshit, they were open to intelligent academic discourse. And when we had a conversation about it, they said, you know what, we thought about it, and I think that you're right, that your criticism of, hey, just because a phone came out of the Thirsty Bag intact doesn't mean the Thirsty Bag did anything, when we haven't looked at how many, untreated phones would have also been intact. So they took it down. You can't buy a Thirsty Bag at iFixit today. And so I really appreciate them. I think they do great things for our industry, and I think that we should support them. I can and do regularly buy products from iFixit, and I think you should too. I was thinking about getting one. I'll put it to the real test. This is just a waste of money. I mean, here, I'll take a challenge for anybody that buys one of these ridiculous machines. I would put a $100 bet that whatever tests that you do, I will get the same results by just waving my hand over the phones as a treatment. And I will teach you to wave your hand over the phone to confer water protection for the low price of $1,000 at my waterproofing training school. Do you still respond on Reddit? Probably not. All right, we're gonna try to see if we can clear this phone through to activation. The solder pad where you solder the shield, i.e. the frame, could have a signal in it. The frame? No. I mean, it doesn't, God damn it, activation lock. Mr. Yuck sticker coming up for sure. Alright, can't touch that, that sucks. Oh wait, Wi-Fi settings, yeah. Okay, well it just shows me that it sees Wi-Fi. I guess we could kind of test it. I guess we should stick a shield on here anyway. You must turn your hand clockwise. Don't tell the secret! I'm gonna charge $1,000 for that. Shh! Gotta turn your hand clockwise. Yes, everyone knows that. I wonder if I got one, debunked it, found out it didn't work, would they refund it? No, of course not. Are you kidding me? They would find a reason why your, jets were jammed or whatever. I mean, there's nothing to debunk here. That's like saying, you know, let's debunk the rice myth. You know, it's just silly. I used to get really similarly like pissed off at this drugstore test that you could buy when I was big into molecular biology days. Used to be able to go down to the drugstore, and there were these guys that were selling. They were making a lot of money selling this early gender prediction test. Christine, did you ever buy that test? Like it was like this pee in a cup test that would tell you if you're having a boy or a girl like in very early pregnancy.
No. But I did have the one cell DNA test.
Was it accurate?
Yes.
Awesome. How many weeks was that?
That was probably between, I would say like 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was this sort of like silly stuff at the, that would even kind of like say in like the tiny print, that this is really just for entertainment or something like that, and it was a early gender prediction test, and it was sold expensive. It was like $40. That's not a $5 joke. That is you thinking that you're buying something like it's next to the pregnancy test, like a bona fide medical grade piece of biological information, and it was absolutely the whole entire premise was completely flawed. It was just exactly like this ridiculous waterproofing thing where the chance that there's any shred of bona fide, practical, real world stuff here is 4% at best. And I used to get really mad at people that would sell this, and people that would buy this without, because they were like, well, maybe. No. Just knock it off. I think that especially for the cell phone repair industry, where we're already looked at as a gang of hacks that learned everything that we know on YouTube University, that is working outside of the manufacturer's blessings, where the words unauthorized and, counterfeit, fake, or stolen parts, the last thing that we as an industry need to be doing is telling people, yeah, let me have your $50 and I'm going to waterproof your phone. Now, it won't work in salt water, but, it's at least going to enhance the natural waterproof coating of your phone. You don't know that. You're just making shit up and lying. You are taking people's money based on just what you want to believe is true. Well, my buddy got it done, he put his phone in water, it still worked. That does not mean that rice cured the phone, and it doesn't mean that the snake oil treatment protected the phone. Alright. What am I even doing here? I just feel myself ranting, but I don't even know what it's about. There must be an easier way. What are you guys talking about? Change the NAND program. iCloud unlock. Boo! We had a guy that came to the course, and he's like, got all these boards missing, like NAND and baseband CPU. I'm like, oh, a little light iCloud unlocking that you've been doing on the side. And he's like, no. All right, what should we do? Let's vote. All right, we gotta try to figure out this grayed out Wi-Fi issue. Should I leave the shield uncovered? Should I cut the sticker to fit like I always do? Should I put the sticker down and see if the sticker itself has a beep to ground? Should I just solder one side first and then test to see if it has Wi-Fi? How should we investigate this? What do you say? last one. Try taping the shield in place first. That's not a bad idea. Alright, here we go. Alright, let's just kind of keep things as... Oh, don't tell me somebody on here is talking about rice. Yeah, rice is for eating. Christine, when did you first learn to not put a wet phone in rice?
I don't know, a couple years ago.
A couple of years ago. I gotta go to roller skating. Gotta speed this up.
But you hear it so often that sometimes you feel like you're roped into doing it anyways. You know?
Wait, you feel peer pressure to put your phone in rice? What the heck? Like what? Like your kids are like, Mom, don't you know? You're so like old, you don't know about rice? Is that what this is?
It's just that's everybody's answer.
Yeah.
You know, so, and you have rice.
Wait, have you actually put
I've
your
never
phone?
done it, no. But you have rice in your pantry, so quick, easy to try, even though.
I mean, that's like saying, why don't you just put urine on the phone? You have that next to you like all the time, like,
Oh, Christy.
Yeah?
You have to.
Alright, is it possible the ground plane generated by the shield is modifying the magnetic field of L5201RF, which is needed to generate the voltage for the Wi-Fi? Alright, it sounds like I gotta look up this L5201RF. Let's see who he is.
I was just about
Well, that's a good theory. I like how that sounds. Let's see. L52.
Are you going to?
I don't get gray flickering bar M1 pad. I don't get that. That's not how they come back. If they come back, it's a sporadic touch, lots of touch, or it doesn't come back with gray bars. So I don't know. All right, is this 6 plus? U 52 01 underscore RF. Wait, you're just talking about Wi-Fi chip? Why don't you say Wi-Fi chip? All right, let's see. Is it possible the ground plane generated by the shield is modifying the magnetic field of L5201 RF? All right, what's L52? Ah. Oh yeah, that guy? Alright. What does he do? L5201 RF, for anybody that's following along, is maybe it has to do, with that theory, if we wanted to go along with that theory. If you have your let's say in theory, ferrite embedded paper here that's going to attenuate your ground plane, that if you have your shield, your paper like this, like that, something like that could then fail to attenuate it, or I don't know. Why does it come back? Alright, let's see. That doesn't explain why it starts working. Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with leaving the shield off? Well, if you leave the shield off, then you're going to be doing warranty work because you haven't solved the problem. If I eat rice 2 times a week, will it help my phone? Yes, it will. To be water resistant. Every PCB design guide tells to avoid putting ground under the inductors. All right. Huh. Captain tape to seal the shield before solder it. It's difficult to follow Jess is speaking. No, it's not. Yeah, Mark, you got to screen. All right, I mean, that's the thing. That it's not, the grayed out Wi-Fi, once it resolves, it doesn't come back. So it seems like it is either some kind of localized heating that is from the actual heat of the soldering iron that bothers somebody around the edge of this stuff, that then it doesn't experience that extreme temperature during normal use. So once it kind of comes down, then it's fine. You know, we could, you know, kind of assume it has something to do with the sticker, but I don't really even know how to kind of replicate the problem. It just seems to occur kind of randomly on some of these and not others. And then there are times where you can just really pay attention to your soldering, and especially if you are, you know, quick and light around this top corner, you know, then it seems to kind of go away, or you don't notice it for like a week. And then whatever technique you're using or doing, you'll get like 3 of them in a row. It's a real odd thing. All right, let's put this shield on, and let's just, my guess is that this one is just, no matter what we do, it's not going to have the grade Wi-Fi. But let's do a little kind of test anyway. Alright, so I just soldered the shield on one side only, and I did not put any heat at all over here on this side. So let's put this back together, and at least maybe we can kind of figure out what side of the board the problem is coming from, maybe. But probably this board will just be fine, and then we'll never know. Well, we gotta speed up because I gotta get out of here. 2, 3, 2, 3.
Have a good night.
I like something to do with magnetic fields and ground planes. That sounds pretty good. But it has to do with extreme heat. I mean, there was a time where we really thought it had to do with like date and time. Like, I don't know why it is. Like, I had one today that, like, I had one that was grade Wi-Fi yesterday that I left overnight, and this morning it was still grade Wi-Fi, which was very odd. But then I turned it off and then turned it back on maybe 5 minutes later and it was back to normal. So that kind of seems like shutting down an electrical field and then turning it back on after cooling has happened seems to make a difference. All right, let's see. Where's my other one? Let's see if that one goes away. Maybe we should work on the other one as a learning board for grayed out Wi-Fi too, because we know that it can kind of easily be triggered in that board. Like, I could just reheat that existing shield and see if I could bring back grayed out Wi-Fi after it first resolves. That's kind of a good idea. Battery. Okay. So it's just soldered on the one side. Let's see if we have any Wi-Fi. Interesting. What the heck? I got a free connect to iTunes, which is very odd. This was fine. I've just soldered to sort of that one side of the shield. But that means grayed out Wi-Fi, right? Connect to iTunes means, I can't get out, you can't, it's an ad activation menu. So that's interesting. All right, so let's take off that. Let's look at and see that. That's grayed out Wi-Fi, I think. Am I reading that right? That is requiring me to go to iTunes because it has no option for Wi-Fi. Alright guys, alright, team grayed out Wi-Fi, let's look at this board. So I just went from fine to grayed out Wi-Fi, and all I did was solder a single line down here. Nothing on the rest of this. Of course this shield is ground. Alright, let's take it off. Alright, let's inspect to see, did we get any solder anywhere that wasn't supposed to be? Got a blob right there. All right, let's just see if it's still great, if it's still making me connect to iTunes. Check coil on top right next to cumulus. What are you talking about? This guy? Wi-Fi signal chip is above the opening. It's the large gray chip. Well, yeah. Not enough heat. What? Yeah, the Wi-Fi chip. The Wi-Fi chip is right here. So the only thing that happened was a little bit of heat, a little bit of solder down this line, and I then have this sort of ground plane, but it was over the ferrite sticker. Now I'll put the shield, leaving out top side with the coil. Okay, I could do that. But first, let's see if it has resolved. 2, 3, 2, 3, 8. Is that the only inductor in the Wi-Fi? Is L5201 RF the only inductor in the Wi-Fi circuit? Just so many variables, all these little antennas and Gotta have something to do with the shield. There is Wi-Fi circuitry in the can, so yeah, let's see what the shield does. Alright, shield is off. God damn it, that dude will get me every time. When you don't connect this little dude by the battery, he doesn't like it. Low battery. Let's see if I still have great Wi-Fi on my other phone. Too much flux? What does that have to do with Wi-Fi? Still grayed out. No! Don't you take away my display. Alright. Yes, fake low battery from the little antenna guy. If he touches the battery connector, which, you know, is such a pain, but if you have to connect that dude every single time. Okay, so now it says choose a Wi-Fi. So, alright, now we're making progress. So this to me means grayed out Wi-Fi. Grayed out Wi-Fi has resolved because Wi-Fi is back now that I have the shield off. Alright, before cutting the shield, I like Davide's idea of notching the shield down so that we don't cover up the Wi-Fi inductor. I like that idea. So what he's saying is, don't put a shield over this dude. I think it's that dude. Don't put a shield over this dude because the shield creates a ground plane which could then interfere with a magnetic field that the coil is generating, which is required in order to generate the voltage that the Wi-Fi chip up here, the Wi-Fi chip itself needs. And I like that idea. So he's saying, you know, that no, the sticker is not really attenuating the nearby ground field. So just what happens if you just kind of move the shield down here, do the same thing? Does it kind of leave that guy so that he's not covered up? So, but first I kind of want to rule out, are we talking about a heat problem or a ground plane problem? So I'm going to take the idea of, let's just reattach this, let's reattach this thing. Let's put back the sticker and keep everything the same. Let's reattach this thing and let's use Captain tape instead of heat and see if it is a ground plane thing or is it a heat thing that is bringing on the gray Wi-Fi. But I think also I appreciate what Mark is saying, which is, you know, why is it that if it's just a ground plane thing, how come Wi-Fi comes back over time? That doesn't make any sense. You know, it's got to be a heat thing. All right, so that's why I want to kind of look into that. You told me to reball the CPU. Once you tell me to reball the CPU, Mr. X Fix Repairs UK, Once you tell me to reball the CPU over grayed out Wi-Fi, then I don't listen to anything that you say because you're crazy. Okay, so let's, yeah, check the coil. What does check the coil even mean? Check the coil. All right, I checked it. It's still there. It's still black. It's still got pads on the end. Check the coil. By what? Getting out some kind of measuring its inductance? Okay. Let's see what happens now. Mark, what do you think is going to happen? Check the coil is not anything. Draw a shiny check mark on it. Ah. Mark, when are you coming up here? When do I need to go to the airport? Mark and I are about to do 2 back-to-back weeks of the course, which will probably result in some ridiculous live streaming at some point. Unless we are still like super behind. All right, let's speed up on this. Wait, tomorrow evening? Dang, really? Winner gets a bag of rice for driving wet phones. Great Wi-Fi, no boot? Damn! Why? Why are we gonna have no boot? That's not happening. Check the batteries charged. What? No, the battery is obviously charged. It boosts the phone. Replace touch IC both, but no luck. What are you talking about? No one is even watching this. This makes no sense. I replaced the touch IC. This thing totally has touch. It works great. We're just investigating why you have a temporary, not even a problem, of grayed out Wi-Fi sometimes when you put a shield on. That's what we're doing right now. So we did touch IC on a couple of phones. They both have touch. One of them had grayed out Wi-Fi. The second one, we're trying to trigger the grayed out Wi-Fi so that we can research and narrow down exactly what is the cause of grayed out Wi-Fi as a secondary complication of some touch jobs. But in general, grayed out Wi-Fi is a transient problem. Reball the CPU no matter what's wrong. Yes. There's no, I agree with UK guy. Check the Stockholm chip for solder or other crap that we've already done that. There's no visible anything. Heat would do it, all electronics vary with temperature, right? Well, that's what we're trying to do right now, is we're trying to differentiate between heat and ground plane as sort of the primary thing going on here. All right, and we got a winner for heat. So this is not grayed out Wi-Fi with the shield on it. The shield is placed with a piece of tape. All right, I mean now, all we did to trigger the grayed out Wi-Fi was heat. Right, I'm gonna, I don't know, I guess, I don't know, Davide, what do you think? Do you still want to stand by your ground plane magnetic field attenuation idea? What does that have to do with heat? I don't know. Have you seen iFixit doing CPU pulls? Yes. Yeah, totally. That guy is, I thought that was so clever to drill it out from underneath. I know you're talking about iPhone. Today good job for you. The conclusion is heat. Really? So far, yeah. All right, now we're going to go ahead and try this idea. We are going to, I need to get out of here like super stat. We're going to see what happens if we just do the same thing again, except that we're gonna just skip this particular inductor. So this inductor is the guy that produces the voltage that powers the Wi-Fi chip itself. So let's just cut this. And let's cut the shield. All right, let's see what happens if we put on a shield, but we don't get any, but we leave that guy kind of hanging out. I still don't have an explanation as to why sometimes you can put on a shield, you know, many of them, and you don't get any kind of problem with grayed out Wi-Fi, and other times you do. I also don't understand, like, why you sometimes, you know, why wouldn't Apple just make a shield like in the iPad? The iPad mini, actually that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Where is an iPad mini shield? We've cannibalized most of them for... Like, look at one of these shields. So this is an iPad mini shield. And see how in the Apple design, there's these like cutout places. So there's nothing but the sticker, this sort of same ferrite sticker, but the actual ground plane is just left out. So it's like, you know, they decided that it's not cool to have a ground plane, you know, on these. And I always thought they were over like the backlight guys. But let's look and see exactly what they are over, just to kind of refresh. I don't know why this is sort of like only an iPad mini. Is this an iPad mini shield? Oh, it's not. Let's find out. Let's go on a shield graveyard tour. Okay, here's an iPad mini shield. Alright, here's iPad mini shield with its sort of like cutout areas. Alright, that is an iPad Air board. This is an iPad mini board. Alright, so it goes over inductor, backlight coil, this giant capacitor, and this coil. So they didn't put ground over this capacitor, this inductor, or that inductor. All right, okay. So I'm liking this idea that leaving a gap here for the Wi-Fi inductor to not have to deal with whatever problem here. And I don't really know. What effect does heat have on an inductor and inductance in magnetic fields? Who around here is got some engineering training that knows that off the top of their head? Let's see. Wait, what are you getting ready to stream? Start up a stream. Okay, good, because I'm getting ready to be done, because I gotta go to roller skating. Wait, Mark, what time do I need to pick you up at the airport? You gotta continue the iPad Rehab quest to understand grayed out Wi-Fi in iPhone 6 Plus. Chris Long, I think it was Chris Long, had a pretty awesome repair. Where's your stream, Chris Long? I want to see some of your image work. It would have taken me a while to figure out the idea of connecting that image data negative. I would have connected it to another phone just because I did that before with a clock line. I would not have thought immediately to connect it to just one of the other negatives on one of the other. I would have thought that would be like different data. So that was a good one. That must have felt good. Zoom out, please. Okay. Can't really zoom out that much. All right. Yep, that's maximum zoomed out. All right, now what do you think's gonna happen? I'm gonna have to leave regardless and kind of just, come back when it's less chatty. But here we are if you're just joining us, this is kind of just horsing around with Touch IC. We're investigating, I thought I was gonna burn up the CPU. We're investigating why do you sometimes get grayed out Wi-Fi after Touch IC microsurgery, which really doesn't seem to happen until after you put on one of these shields. So we have one here that has grayed out Wi-Fi, or it doesn't have grayed out Wi-Fi, but it did briefly when all we did was kind of run a bead of solder down the left side of the shield. So what we learned from there is that if you just tape the shield on, which of course isn't going to help actually provide any protection, so there's no reason to do it, but just for research, if you just tape the shield on, then we did not get grayed out Wi-Fi. N equals 1 in this case. So then we thought maybe it had something to do with heat. Now we are investigating this idea that maybe the ground plane, which the word on the street for design is that you shouldn't put ground planes above inductor coils, because the way inductor coils work is that they generate a magnetic field. That's how their inductance works, and the magnetic field can be interfered with if you stick a ground plane there. So we've seen some examples of some other shields in Apple devices that have cutouts where there are big inductors, and so we're just going to see what happens to this grayed out Wi-Fi problem if we have the soldered on shield now. So we just put the shield on, we soldered it on all the way around, except we move the shield down so that it is leaving a space, a cutout where the inductor is for the Wi-Fi chip. So we can rule out that idea if this thing has grayed Wi-Fi now, and then we'll have to go back to thinking about heat, or we can kind of, consider that a little bit more, and maybe put some tape there or something if this does have no grayed out Wi-Fi. Let's find out. Alright, so it looks like we still have Wi-Fi with the soldered on shield. I'm almost tempted to run a lot of heat around here to see if I can trigger that grayed out Wi-Fi with just this sort of half shield. I'm not sure about the amount of protection that I've got going on here now that I've left out the top sort of corner of the shield. I think I might go back through and just kind of cut out like a notch around the coil to investigate this further. But really this is kind of, a time will tell thing, and I'd love for you guys to, we're all doing Touch ICs, who is struggling with grayed out Wi-Fi? I mean, this video will post, and we can chat about this stuff in the comments and try to kind of share experience and kind of get drilled down on this and kind of see what happens if we can get rid of this annoying problem. All right, let's head over to Mark's channel. Mark is going to live stream some Touch IC and see what he does. All right, I'm going to read these comments before I click this off. What does the Wi-Fi signal have on an inductor when the Wi-Fi signal is reflected back into the inductor? So it was going to burn up steam, especially with steel. Especially with steel. Why especially with steel? Steel. What's up with steel? Yeah, we're not talking about signal, we're talking about like voltage, power onto the Wi-Fi. Gonna wait for Lewis. Inductance increases with heat. I don't know about that. Well, Kevin, it doesn't look like it's picking up many. It's not fully assembled. I'm not clicking it in every antenna. I'm just looking for grayed out Wi-Fi, yes or no. Thank you, Jessa. All right, good night. Okay, I think we're gonna be done. It is time for me to go to roller skating. And I'm sure that both of these, regardless, you know, grayed out Wi-Fi is kind of a non-problem. What I'm gonna do when I come back is the next one that gets bona fide grayed out Wi-Fi, I'm gonna come back and take off the shield and then notch it and see if I can make it go away. That would really sort of establish that was what's going on. But I like that. All right, thanks guys. That was fun. And we're gonna